Alright, I'm here at Howell Park taking a look at this water heater. We've got a few things going on here. This drain valve here is leaking, which is giving us a lot of water in the bottom of this thing here. I tightened it up as good as I can. It looks like it's still getting some water coming out of it, so we're looking at probably having to would have to drain the whole water heater to replace this drain with a brass one. I'll come up here and well, let me walk outside and I'll show you that right here. If you see that water dripping right there, that's coming from the thermal expansion valve on the water heater. I don't know how long it's been leaking, but it looks pretty wet right there with all that green going on. It looks like it's been leaking for some time. Which means that this valve here is releasing pressure. This is the thermal expansion valve. Usually we have a tank to save water instead of having one of these valves. The valve is adjusted all the way though, so can't really do any more adjusting on it. And I checked the pressure on the house, and the house pressure is at about 100 psi, which is I don't know if you can see all that or not, but straight up is 100 psi. Let me turn there we go. So you can see that that thing's at 100 psi, which means that the pressure reducing valve isn't working. That right there is the pressure reducing valve. It has gone bad. It's adjusted. Looks like it's adjusted out some, but it's not supposed to allow the pressure to go over 80 psi, even at maximum adjustment. And so that means that's a Wilkins. That needs to be replaced. Also, because it's been going for so long, this valve here is probably going to need to be replaced as well, because when they stay open, there's a spring inside of them, and when they stay open a long time, like long enough to cause all that algae growth out there, once I change that out, this is probably not going to be any good and need to be replaced. Also, if you look right here on this pipe, right here, yeah, that makes it a little bit, right here, you can see that water coming out of that fitting right there. Maybe because somebody tried to adjust this, I don't know, but this whole thing here has got to be repiped. Taken apart, I'll have to start up here and repipe this because the solder fit is broken on this fitting right here. So you put all those things together, and then if you look right here, that has leaked so long that it's just totally destroyed the fitting down here. Yeah. See, when I go to unscrew that, this piece that it screws into, is a good chance it's going to crumble. So, well, I guess what I'm trying to lead up to is, given the age of this water heater, if we come down here, this is a very old water heater because it doesn't have an enclosed burner assembly. And you can see the water down that pan. So that means this is a pre-2000 water heater. I'll have to look up on state and see what the what their code is for dates, but if it's like most of them, I can tell by looking right here. Let's see if my finger will make this thing focus. Right there. That's not it. Right here. Under item ID. I wonder if this thing will focus any better than that. There we go. 92002, and since this is not a pre-2000, that means that this thing is probably a 1992 water heater, which means it's way old and needs to be replaced. So I wouldn't do any work on this water heater at all, including replacing that valve. The drain valve needs replaced. And then all this piping here has got to be redone. And so by the time we do that, the labor just to do that stuff is going to equal what the labor, or exceed the labor that it would take to replace the water heater. And when we put the water heater in, usually I put in a thermal expansion tank, and you don't need that valve anymore. And it's only $50 more for the thermal expansion tank with a new water heater than it would be to buy another valve and then pipe all this back in and then waste water too. So my recommendation is that we replace the water heater and we replace that pressure reducing valve up there, and that will take care of all the problems. If you don't, I mean, it just don't even make sense. I don't even want to go if you don't. You really have to replace the water heater, because if you go and try to fix that and fix that and then repipe all that and put all that labor in, and then the water heater is going to fail and flood these hardwood floors. That's what they do. They get wet like that, and because of the heat in them, I don't know if I can get this out of here or not, but the bottom of the tanks rust. I don't know if you can see if I lift that or not. If you can see in there, what happens is the bottom of these tanks, you see that rust right there? And then up underneath them, they get hot. I can't get the camera back in there to see it, but they get really hot. And usually what is the first to go is the bottom of the tank on this, in the burner assembly, where it heats up and cools down. And when they fail catastrophically. They blow the bottom out of them, and then usually when nobody's here, and then all them hardwood floors are gone and have to be replaced. So highly recommend that we just DX this thing and put another one in. Thanks.